Oh, yawning. Waking, rise and shine. Not much of a view here from Turkey, but it's still morning motivation time. That's right. I'm hosted with the most is Mark Saint. I have this little show called The Morning Motivation. And this morning we're going to talk about accountability and responsibility because it seems to be lacking in society. And after yesterday's rant about my ex emailing me and us having an abortion and who's accountable, who's responsible, I wanted to do a deep dive into this experience called life and really talk about what I think is happening in society and how it's going down. See, I've been watching the red pill movement for a hot minute. After the abortion, I had to do some research and find other hollow men like myself and find some healing and find some understanding of what's going on. And then I sensed in my hearts of hearts that we're not taking accountability and responsibility. I don't know if my ex knows and she watches the show, so I'll just say it. My first abortion was when I was 17. It was within the first month of her being pregnant, but it was my high school sweetheart. And she don't watch the show, so I'll just keep on and go and talk about this. But we were kids. I wanted to go to college. I knew I was going to be destined for bigger things, and I took her there. I paid for it. I think it was like $400. We were dating for such a long time, but it was such a tumultuous relationship. She'll always be someone that I love. She's like my first love. And, we almost became a thing. But undoing a thing also comes with responsibility. When you make decisions in life, you will be stuck with the accountability that comes with it. I am shocked that people think that there isn't a downside to decisions. The same type of upside that comes with making good decisions comes the downside with making bad decisions. This is called Saint's addiction for a reason. If I kept going on to my addictions, I will be the one that suffers. I'll get what I want, like not having a baby or eating sugar or having sex, but I'm also the person that gets the STD, gains the weight, and also loses the child. I am shocked that my ex thought that there was no accountability for my actions. I was shocked to think that she wasn't even watching the same show that I do every day for the last 2 years, going on and on about how mad I am about my temper and how far she pushed me to get there. And most of my friends have argued with me and said, Saint, you've never even argued with me. And I'm like, yeah, because you haven't really pushed me. And this is one of my dear friends. It's me. She'll be watching the show too. And we had a conversation about it because she got drunk one time, popped up like a cricket and punched me in the arm. And I stopped talking to her, blocked her on social media. It pissed me off because I went to go save her from we were at an event and they were like, your friend's in the tent. And I had to let her go with us out of the medical tent that she was in. This is real talk. This is really what happened. So she's like, I didn't do that. I smacked you or something. I'm like, no, dude, you full on made a fist and punched me in the arm. And I'm like, you little motherfucker. How dare you? You know what I mean? Like, you don't ever punch me. I used to grow up in an abusive family. This is also my accountability that I wouldn't be like my father. One of the deep dives I went through after having this argument with my ex is I had a flash of my father. My father was the one that jumped in my body and told me to get her fat ass out of the car. That's something my father would do. He's a no nonsense person. He was a disciplinarian and makes me a disciplinarian too. I'm a disciplinarian as a teacher. I'm a no nonsense kind of friend. I'm very rigid like that. I have to self identify with myself and what I'm accountable for and what I've done with my life, taking responsibility. It's not like anybody else does the time with me. I've been in prison, South Korean prison, Ensenada prison, and there's been a third one too where I'm not very proud of. So it was Mexico. Oh, and America. Hey, I was selling ecstasy pills and they caught me and I did the time. Ain't nobody doing the time unless they doing the crime. And that's what was shocking to my ex was that she didn't really want any kind of responsibility. She wanted to be absolved from the decision she made to be with her. What she didn't want to admit was that she walked away from me. We were out in the Pacific Ocean. Once again, before we even got to smoke, we were arguing right in the morning. And I don't know if a joint would have saved our lives or picking apart situations. I remember coming back and she was like, "Oh, it's so weird that you're not kissing me." I'm like, I actually stopped an old lady that we were picking up because she needed a ride and they were trying to mark up the Uber ride. And I met her at the last station that we were together. And I'm like, let's give this old lady a ride. But before we gave the old lady a ride, I said, give me a minute. I need to kiss this woman. And I did. I kissed her, but it wasn't enough. She wanted to be kissed as soon as we dropped the other chick off and hit the stop sign. She was like, it's so weird that you're not just jumping all over me. I'm like, you're driving. I'm trying to take a picture. I had no idea that this was going to be our kissing moment, you know? But I failed her in that, you know? And instead of taking responsibility for it, right? Or accountability for it, I'm sitting here going, shit, why wasn't I thinking the same thing she was thinking? Why wasn't I prepared to kiss my ex even more and jump all over her? I thought we were going to do that at home. My vision was somewhere else. My vision on that Pacific Coast Ocean was that we were going to talk about our lives, that I was finally there. Fuck you, jets. Yeah, get Lon, get. They're always going overhead here. It's F-16s every day flying over a city. I think it's interesting. It's a little weird, actually, but that's what happened. And that's what happened. She walked away from me many times. It's not the first time she left me in a park, bro. We were there in a park before we even got into this argument. Come on, F-16 number 2. They always come in pairs around here. Maybe even 3s or 4s sometimes. I've been filming it for a minute, but that's what ended up happening. You know, I go over and over it in my head because that's what we do. We ruminate. We go, what could have gone different? What if I embraced her immediately at that stop sign? What if I never argued with her when we were on that coast? What if I was more gentler? What if I'm taking a responsibility, accountability? What if I was nicer? What if I never left and went to Brazil? What if we never fought? What if I never kicked her out of my apartment when we first started our relationship and she started to cry on my bed and I'm like, I think you need to leave. I'm looking for mental stability. She don't want to admit any of that. She don't want to sit there and say, yeah, I was a little too emotional the first time I was in your house. She didn't want to admit that she would constantly stonewall me and sometimes ignore me, especially the day I was supposed to meet her mother. She doesn't want to admit that she'll get iggy with me and walk away and leave me in public places, and then I'd be all alone going to visit her all the way to San Francisco. I drove all the way there to get to her, and she ignored me on the couch. I was like a part of the couch, and she didn't even help me to get mentally prepared to meet her mother. No, instead she stonewalled me and then expected me to meet her mom. And I'm like, I blew that. I take accountability for that. I kept taking accountability for all the actions she chose to do. And it was like, well, where's your accountability? Where's your responsibility and duty to this child? You know, it's your child too. You did the sex to get pregnant as well as me. So it's as much as a responsibility for you as it is for me. I love it when they go, okay, well, then you're going to have to pay child support. I had to give her my name and social security number. I fully jumped into responsibility and said, yes, that's my child. Yes, that's me. Here's my social security number. I stepped up. I showed up. And then maybe I showed out, but I have to take responsibility for showing out. I don't normally act that way. I'm not normally pregnant with somebody. And I said pregnant as in us, a we thing. I've never had that experience before. And there I was with somebody that I was trying to talk into it or talk out of having an abortion and convince her and her mother in the back of a car while they're going on about it's too soon and it's your body. And I'm sitting here going, she's 26 weeks pregnant. She had this choice months ago before I left for Brazil. She could have chosen never to have that baby. She could have chose to do it early like I did when I was 17. But no, she was like, oh, it's my son's birthday. Oh, it's Thanksgiving, and kept postponing it because she was a constant procrastinator. And then it was a 26-week-old baby, almost fully developed, only 4 months left. You're 5 months pregnant, and you don't want to take responsibility for that. You want to hit the delete button and pretend like it's going to delete the meta tags behind it. You could try to delete a web page. You could try to delete a photo, but every photo has traces of where you took the photo, when it was taken. There's metadata. There's little embedded data in there that's left along, the little crumb trails, like the Hansel and Gretel crumb trails. You got to follow the crumb trails to get to the witch. And that's what people aren't doing. They're not going like, oh, well, I didn't do the push-ups, so I don't have the chest. Or I'm not losing any weight, so I'm gonna try to take some pills. Or I'm trying to get big, like my homie was saying, he was gonna do all these different steroids, but he doesn't even work out. He doesn't even sleep right. He does amphetamines. And it's like, how are you gonna be fit if you don't do the workouts? One of my favorite quotes I've been hearing from Ice Cube is, "Don't expect the rewards for the work you didn't do." Right? And that's something that most people don't want to do. They don't want to take accountability for the work they didn't do. They don't want to take account. She doesn't want to take accountability for her mental imbalance. I heard from her mother of her postpartum depression from her last kid. So something about her gets really weird when she gets pregnant. I don't know, because I don't get to know her that well. She always kept me at a distance. And then it's like, you want me to have a family with you, but you killed our family. It's just like rubbing it in on me. And you didn't just lose one child, you lost 3 children. And it's like, as if it's not enough worse, think that the guy that's always wanted to be a father and dreamed about the day of having children and had it lined up perfectly for fucking Francis Mark St. Arnaud the 7th and the 7th grandchild from my grandma and an April-born Taurus baby just like me, just like my grandpa. And none of that stopped her from doing what she wanted to do. She wanted out. She told me she wanted to get rid of me. She's like, I didn't get rid of the baby. I got rid of you. Right before she kicked me out at 6 a.m. in the dark of fucking San Francisco after I flew there in emergency style, red-eyed it so I could be there with her, told her I was there. It still didn't stop her. She made her own decision. And now she's sitting here going kind of on some regret shit, on some embarrassed shit, on some don't talk about me shit, as if she has control over this show. There's no such thing as this. This is my show way before I even met her. This has always been my plan. And as I talk to some of my friends, it's all about men's mental health for my show. I don't know how women's mental health works. I don't know why they didn't ask her, well, you're kind of far along. Why do you want to do this all of a sudden? Oh, well, I got in a fight with my ex. He kind of grabbed on me. He scared me, and now I want to have this. Let's talk to this psychologist. Let's see if this really wants to be the decision that you want to take. No, they hand her a pill, lickety split. This kid's dead. The next day, she's getting it taken out, and I'm in front of the fucking hospital crying my eyes out, just fucking dying and ripping my fucking face off. So it's one of those things where it's like, not for nothing, but it's been putting me through a lot of shit. And it's not just shit, it's been horrible. It's changed the whole trajectory of my life. It made my mom smoke cigarettes again. It made me never talk to my uncle again. I can't even face my father. It's one of the biggest embarrassments of my life. And the only thing I can say is I lost a child. Now she keeps going on and go, well, you didn't talk about how special she was to you. Yeah, damn right I did. I was so in love with this girl. It didn't matter to me that she had 2 kids. It kind of mattered. You were too busy calling them baggage. You're bringing baggage, bro. You're bringing trauma, baggage, and drama to my front doorstep and asking me to make you a cake and call it a Christmas. It was so weird to me that you can't see that you made children for another man, but you killed my baby. And then you want me to be the kind of man that wants to leave for your children, pay for trips, take them around the world with us, get them an education, and then also, I don't have a life inside of you anymore? It confuses me. It confused me so bad that I had to do 2 shows about it. And it was just like, all these kids are doing it, and they don't want to think about it, but it's like, go ahead, play your video games, bro. Play your video games. Because you will get older. And eventually, Microsoft, Bill Gates has already got a big enough house. I keep telling my friends with the Xbox, he's already got enough money. He's already got Activision. They just made a $68 billion buy to buy Activision to own the video games. They literally try to control the whole market. They had to actually get the FFA or FAA, the actual... permission to buy such a big company so they're not a monopoly. But now they're the gaming monopoly of the world, bro. They literally own all the video games out there. And the only thing that people don't take accountability for is how much time they pump into it. So instead of pumping time into their dreams and into a solution, they're on there playing video games, just zoning out. Well, there's a price to pay for that. There's a price to pay for eating ice cream. I paid it. It came right around my waist. and it's still a little bit here, you know. I was getting fat. I was eating myself to death because I was dying inside. I eat my feelings. I can take accountability for that, and then I got to take responsibility for my workouts and my diet and my discipline not to eat sugar anymore, so that I can have these guns back. And that's something that I had to earn. I had to earn my business. Everybody wants to fucking jump in my shoes. I don't know anybody that can cover for me and just jump in my shoes. Like, I wish I could travel the world. Really? Well, I've been up till 4 a.m. last night trying to handle an order that was coming for Champs Convention, and I have to be responsible. Did I want to go to sleep? Hell yeah. Do I have to stay up later? Hell yeah. And it's like, okay, so you want to be me, but do you want to get up early? Do you want to stay up late? Do you want to do the work? I remember distinctly going to a convention that I gone many times, Magic Convention, to show we had a passion for fashion, me and my ex. I brought her along with me, and at the end of the day, she goes up and said we had separate businesses. I looked at her crazy, really? Because I remember getting you into here. I remember getting you a pass. I remember signing up early and being here for years, and you just showed up and you got your own business? Then what are we doing together? Why are we even together? And it started to plant seeds in my head, just like her not getting the kisses at the stop sign. Like, that's weird. You should be jumping all over me. I think you're weird for saying that we have separate businesses as if we're not on the same team. And she said it again one time. I remember arguing. This is like my reprieve in my own brain, arguing with her when we went going out to my friend's property in Arizona, and the wind had kicked up so hard that it actually twisted our tent, and we needed to go sleep in the car. I've never seen a tent twist like that. A tent twist like that. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that before, where like the hinge went the other way, and it was all anyway. My point is that. In the car, she said it again. It is separate businesses. And at that time, I stonewalled her, stopped talking to her. I'm like, I'm just going to drive home. I'm not going to grab her out of a car. I'm not going to argue with her. I just started stonewalling her. And I was driving back from Arizona, and I was like, fuck this bitch. I'm not even going to stop at the Grand Canyon. These people don't deserve me. And as we went by, I had my best friend in the back, my ex-best friend too. And I'm like, these guys got to see the petrified forest, you know, the petrified wood forest that's near the Grand Canyon. And we stopped at the Grand Canyon. It was worth the stop because we were there. I had to get over myself and my anger so that we could share in that moment. I've yet to see her do anything like that, exhibit any kind of responsibility or self-control and say, you know what, let me get over my shit and let me treat you better. That never happened. I literally stood up on the Pacific Coast Ocean and I asked her, can you find your happy? And she just walked away. She just ran away from her responsibility. She hid underneath the lesion. She tried to absolve herself from the sex that she had. And now she doesn't have a baby. And now she doesn't have me. And then all of a sudden it was like, I want a family. And I'm like, you just killed our family. I don't understand. And you divorced your last family. So I'm going to go on a tirade about some other things that don't have to do with her because she thinks she's so vain. She thinks the show is about her. These are what my friends are saying. So of course I go through my social, not my social circle, but my circle of influence. And I call all my friends that are dear to me to talk about it. And here, lo and behold, one of my frequent viewers that watches every day, he's getting his wife to keep his kids from him. She's literally keeping his money and sabotaging him from going to shows. Like, he had a whole conference that he wants to go to. He goes about maybe once every 6 months to do some kind of mentor program or some kind of show, and she's feeding lies into her daughter's ears. Now she's a parent for her mother. Now he doesn't get to see his children for the last couple of months. All he is a paycheck. She cheated on him multiple times. She punks him. She's bigger than him. She got fat on him. She's a fat chick, bro. She's fucking running his world and running his kids and in this behavior. You know what I mean? I'm actually concerned for him because his mental health is in struggle. He's over there having to kowtow down to this chick that's telling them to fuck off or do other things, or she doesn't care about him and all these other things. And I'm just like, wow, what a fucking story. How about my other homies? Like, don't do it, Saint, don't do it. Let me tell you a story about my homie where his girlfriend cheated with the next door neighbor. Now they have a paying 800 euros a month in rent, so that way she can fucking get, he has to rent out the house that he used to live in with her. That $800 euros a month goes towards a kid with his next door neighbor. So he can't even live in his own house anymore, bro. There are women out there that are destroying families and nobody wants to talk about it. They're destroying men's mental health and nobody wants to talk about it. They're so entitled and so vain that as long as I feel this way, then this is the way it's going to be. Well, do what you want, but there will be accountability. Maybe didn't have to be accountable for your abortion because it's your body, it's state law, it's California, but you get the shame and you get this kind of show. It's not like you be absolved from deleting babies and murdering children, dude. And I love watching the show about the guy with the abortion show. I watch it often, and he got all these crazy people coming up to him. It's just wrong. You can't tell a woman to do with their body. And they're like, nobody forced her to have the sex. And then they go to the extreme and go, well, there's rapists and shit. And I'm like, it's less than 1%. Like, you got to walk up and down the street every day in safety. You usually, well, I see girls here, especially in Muslim cultures, even more sketchier cultures where rape is more prevalent, like in, I don't know, South Africa, Nigeria, India, these kind of places where these dudes just take it. Well, there's punishment for that. There's actual punishment. You can do whatever you want. Call it a clump of cells. You could disassociate that it was actually had ligaments and that it was actually a formed fetus that was breathing with a heartbeat. You could say, well, it wasn't best for me. What kind of life would this child have had? She even threatened me with adoption. Like, she knew how bad me and my mom wanted this child, but she would rather give it up for adoption than to give it to us. And I was just shocked by her decision making. And now she's sitting here looking for someone that has the same values as her. What, murderer? Like, you don't want to talk about it. And I was so scared to have this show yesterday because I felt it might fuck up my chances with her. I know she's going to watch the show. She didn't even have the balls to email me what I have in my heart and what I had to overcome in my life. And it's like me forgetting that I went to South Korean prison. No, I had a guy sit here when we were all smoking in Turkey, and he told me that he went to jail over selling something. I don't know. I think he was selling acid or something. He went to jail, and they're sleeping 40 guys to a room. 20 of them sleep, and 20 of them wake up. They all sleep. There's only 2 beds in that whole jail cell, and they all have to sleep together. That's what his price he had to pay. He had to go into Muslim countries. He had to fight the Muslims inside the Sikh Gitlan. What the fuck? Jets every day, bro. Like, is it that dangerous over this little city outside of Istanbul? I'll never know. But that's what I'm saying. He had to pay the price. I think he was in there for 4 years having to sleep on and off with all these men. And he said it was cool because he had some of his friends, but they wanted to smoke weed. And then all the guys were like, another jet. Stupid. That they would have to fight against the Muslims because they had a belief. And now I'm fighting against my belief for abortion. It's hard for me to say it because I had an abortion when I was 17 and I absolved myself of the responsibility. Now that I'm 43, I'm sitting here going like, fuck the jets, bro. Fuck the jets, bro. Fuck you. Flying overhead, making noises all the fucking time. See, they're Gitlan. Get the fuck out of here. You know? And that's what ends up happening. If they want to say, get the fuck out of here, Saint, we're going to arrest you. Here's number 4 again. Yay, another one. Fuck off. Yeah, fuck off. And that's what it ended up happening. This is this fuck off moment where people tell you to fuck off, but they don't know that they're literally getting rid of you. They're getting rid of your energy, your smile, your ambition, all the things that you wanted. And I got stonewalled out of it. It's like, oh, you're not worth anything, so get the fuck out of here. Get kicked out at 6 a.m. in the morning while it's still dark, get called names and told that I have STDs and that I'm a fuckboy and all these other things. And I'm like, this is abusive, bro. This isn't the kind of relationship I wanted. This isn't the mother of my dreams where she was celebrating and that everybody would have a baby shower, and then there would be a gender reveal party, and then everybody would be proud and happy that there was lineage and there was life growing. No, it was all bum show. Her mom, bum show, showing up with her bum ass attitude and always her negative perspective that everything was wrong. Matter of fact, right after that we got the abortion, her mom actually texted me, are you still here? We were downstairs and living in their basement, like, can you leave the house? So they literally kicked me out after they killed my child. Like, there was just no love or support in that whole situation. And they mad at me because their daughter's lying about pregnancy. You're 5 months pregnant, showing, and you're not telling anybody. You're wearing baggy clothes and you're lying. And that's what really bugged me about the situation is you're lying about your accountability and responsibility. You had a responsibility to raise your own child too. It's your responsibility to give birth to things that happen. It's called your duty. And it's like that's something that I don't want to do, but if you got harassed or something down the streets, it's my duty to protect you. When my siblings, my two sisters grabbed two roses from some dude when I was like 17, what were we? I was 16, 17. I was under 21. I was young. And this crackhead gave my sisters two roses and then hit me up for $20 at the end, like, yo. And I'm like, yo, give those roses back. And I was mad at my sisters, like, you shouldn't be taking gifts from strangers, man. You're causing a fight. And dude got Iggy with me, and it was my duty to protect my sisters and knock that motherfucker out. Was I prepared to have a fight? No, I didn't pick up the roses. Not my responsibility, but it was my accountability to take care of business. And that's what we do, TCB, taking care of business. And then people want to know why their business doesn't grow. Are you taking care of business? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of others? Or are you just so vain and selfish that it's only about you and your happiness, and you don't give a fuck that you got out of your other relationship, that you made a vow to some man and said that you guys would always go to death do your part, and then guess what? Death did us part. So not only am I trying to marry a divorcee that already has two kids, but she just killed my kid and wants to talk about family. And I'm like, you're all over the fucking place, bro. You confuse me. Like, I don't understand your brain at all. Like, how do you figure that you get to get me and the special thing that we had in that special moment again when you killed it? Our opportunity's gone. I had to live through that murder. I had to live through a missed opportunity that I'll never forgive myself every morning, waking up like, like that, like every morning, like that happened. Like, holy shit, that's part of my story. It's not just some nightmare. It's not just something that I saw in a movie or a YouTube video, but I really lost a child, and that's part of my journey. Just like my other friend, where he had 40 years of marriage and 50 years of a relationship, and then she died before him. She died before her 91-year-old grandma. That's now a part of his path. And that's us as men. We know we got to walk that path. We know we got to go lose the weight. We know we got to go earn the money. We know we got to provide. It's our duty. But as women, they just want you to just show up and just let me get that money from you. I saw a girl last night going, that's not enough, honey. And he sent him 150 pounds or something. And she's like, no, never. She said, no, never. In her heart to heart, she never felt guilty that this man might be going into financial ruin. He might need that money for his bills and his safety and his growth. And you just took it and you don't even give a fuck. And that's what I'm seeing. You just took a life and you don't even give a fuck. You think that you're absolved from your own responsibilities. Oh, Mark was being abusive. He was yelling at me. Why was I yelling at you? Because you walked away from me, dude. And you would have never got kicked out of my house if you didn't start crying on my bed. And I would have had a longer relationship with you if you didn't start calling me names. It's so many things that were triggered through the whole thing. I would have met your mom that day if you didn't ignore me and stonewall me. There's so many things that would have changed. I would have never gone to Brazil if she didn't take off from my house and tell me, fuck off, I don't want to have this kid. It's like you made all these decisions on your own, and now you don't want any responsibility or accountability for your actions. Well, guess what? That's not what Saints Addiction's about. Homie, I had to make decisions that I couldn't go with my addictions anymore. Would I love to go have beers with my friends in the park? Yeah, but that's all they do. They just sit around, smoke cigarettes, and drink beer and talk shit. That's not enough for me. I had to take responsibility for my life. I had to take responsibility for my business, and I had to take responsibility for my actions. I'm the one that does the time if I do the crime. She's the one that did a crime and doesn't have to do any time. She's just absolved for it, and the only thing she has is her guilt and talking about so I can move on. Like, bitch, you don't have to watch this show. You don't have to tune in at all. Matter of fact, I thought you ignored me and moved on like you said you would. You would find someone else to fill the shoes. That was so easy to replace me, that there's someone as dynamic as Mark Saint, and you just committed. That's who I am. I have to run through the endurance. They don't want to have to do the workouts. They want the conditioning, but they don't want to run. And it's just like that. You're going to have to get up at 6 a.m. in your silk boxers to be world champion, and heavyweight champ of the world runs in the morning. And most people don't want to do the work. And just like Richard Bashan said, everybody wants the prize, but they don't want the price. And that was the price, was communicating with me, calming me down, and keeping me in the game so that we would have a family. Instead of being a supporter, you were a separator. You had a separate business and a separate agenda, and you did what you wanted to do. And therefore, you get some kind of responsibility. And I think in the future, there will be some legal accountability for doing such things. You know what I mean? Like, you're murdering somebody. If I murder your children, I'd have to go to jail. You murdered my child, and you get to get away with it. That's how I feel. That's men's mental health. That's what we have to go through as men. And what I had to endure when I thought South Korean prison, the book Endure was enough. This was something that was put on top of it. It's my accountability. It's my responsibility. It's my duty. And now I'm doing this show, and now you know what really went down. So peace and love. And as always, Chigathon. But more importantly, comment below. I want to know, what have you taken accountability or responsibility for? Or if you got the balls to say what you tried to ditch out on. What kind of relationships have you almost started and then got iggy on somebody and fucked it up, or friendships, or stolen something, or gone sideways? I keep it real on all accountability and dichotomy. I'm like, it's as the halos and horn is real on mostly saints. It's like I love to wear the halo, but the horns come out sometimes, and I got to be responsible for the horns as much as I'm responsible for the halo. That's your morning motivation. I'm Mark Saint. Like, share, subscribe. Mostly Saints, Saints Addiction, Saints Brand. I'll see you on the other side. Peace and love. Ciao.